Okay, now that the engine stand is empty, what engine will be going on next? I'm up at the engine shed and let's see what we have. I have this big V-twin Subaru. It needs a starter. That's all I pretty much know about this engine. That engine runs. Also, I'd have to drill new holes to actually mount it to the engine test stand since it's a horizontal shaft. I have this Kohler John Deere. I don't think I've ever had this one running, so this one's a mystery engine. I have this Briggs. That one I believe ran when pulled, so that one's probably not one to put on stand unless I want to get rid of it, which I don't really have plans to get rid of that engine at the moment, since it is a good running, I believe 14.5 or 15 horsepower single cylinder, 1-inch crank, standard length. This here is 14 horse Briggs V-twin Vanguard, runs but smokes. That would be an engine I would want to sell for parts. It needs most likely the valve seals replaced on it. That there is another Subaru engine. It's pretty much parts, but it might go back together at some point in its life. I haven't fully decided. Also hiding down here, that's another Kohler, Craftsman Kohler. As you can see, my stand right here is kind of bending that way. That's just plastic holding up a shit ton of weight. And next to that is an old pressure washer engine. Ran when pulled, the pump was starting to lock up on it, so I scrapped the pump. That's actually the base for it right there from it. So the last one I have is this John Deere Kawasaki. That's the one I'm leaning towards putting on there, and I will be pulling out right now. Next after that will be most likely the Subaru, and probably work to these Kohlers after that. I got a source of starter for this, and it's missing a lot of front end components, the airbox, a lot of bracketry for the airbox. So really running, this is probably just a parts engine anyways, unless someone has all those parts to put back on it. And I did briefly look on eBay, see what I could find, but before I buy parts, I want to make sure it runs, and unfortunately I'm going to have to buy a starter to see if it will even run. So that one there is strictly a mystery engine. Also, it needs an oil filter. The oil filter has been punctured on it, and it did leak out all of its oil. But it does have exhaust. It does have its complete intake. The coils are there. I did have it turning over at one time, so really it wouldn't take much, I don't think, to get it running. If you clean up that starter, but most likely that starter would have to be replaced. So Kawasaki will most likely be the one I'm going to go for. This one came from my tractor haul a few years ago. This was originally on the Scottsdale machine. I believe it has a stuck valve. It does turn over, but it does not have compression. So, and it's not blown. So what I'm going to have to end up doing is putting it on the engine test stand, taking this one apart, seeing what's inside, see if there's a mouse nest in it, see how much damage there is. I do have a brand new carburetor for this, so we're all set on that aspect. I believe the air filter actually looked good on this, but I think what happened was they left really old junky gas in it that actually turned to varnish. It possibly leaked into the head and got the intake valve stuck. So that's kind of what I'm thinking happened on this, and that's kind of what I'm hoping happened on this. Like I said, it turns over good even with the starter. I might even pull that starter and see if it's possibly the same for that, but I doubt it. But yes, that Kawasaki John Deere will be the next one to go on the chopping block, and once I do get it running, if I get it running, it will be sold. And we'll probably end up moving to some of these Kohlers, the Subaru, and I think I'm probably going to end up getting rid of that one right there. But again, I want to mount it in something just so I can show it running. It's a complete engine. Actually runs really good until it gets warm and starts to smoke. So yeah, it's leaning towards being the valve seals. It is a Vanguard, It's a very, very common issue with Vanguards, unfortunately. Great engines, poor valve seals. I might even consider redoing the heads on this, changing out the valve seals. I don't know yet. I don't know if I want to dig that deep into a 14 horse Vanguard engine with over 1,500 hours on it. So yeah, that's kind of not something I want to work on, really. So I'm going to get this out, get it in the engine test stand, and next video we'll do on this will be taking it apart and seeing if we can actually save this little engine, because these are kind of valuable. There's not many of them around anymore. People do want them, so I know of a few people who are looking for them online, but obviously I don't want to offer up an engine that's unknown. So anyways, that's pretty much it. So talk to them later. Please keep it redneck like always, and please subscribe and comment.